not in the chair. She is, and there's still, a family sense there. And then sometimes she'll give opinions that I'm not terribly into, but she understands that she doesn't bat 1,000. I shouldn't say that stuff. Can we cut this part out? No, I'm just kidding.
A couple weeks ago,
sure.
her and her partner on What the Football.
Yeah, Amy Trask.
I listen to your show almost every day.
Thanks, pal.
So
I appreciate that.
That's a great show.
Thanks.
So is that under your network?
It is under a podcast network. They're having year 2 come out starting in September. And Amy Trask is a legend. I mean, she has Hall of Fame credentials from her time with the Raiders. Figuratively and quite literally, I think she should be in the Hall of Fame. And she and Susie, when we've been out to dinner with husbands and friends, and hit it off. And I think we're going to actually legitimately add red wine to the equation this fall, because the two of them are better when they've got a glass in their hand, and just chop it up. And that's the idea, is to have content that is of interest and that you can't get anywhere else. Obviously, that's the way to go. But Susie's filled with ideas and filled with energy and filled with just her own sensibility. Like, she did a power ranking the other day of her power rankings of pet peeves, 3 of which I could identify emanating from my behavior.
Heavily influenced by home?
Heavily influenced, yeah. Especially the leaving clothes in front of the hamper, not in them. Like, that one really hit home. But I kind of dig putting that out there, like that's life. That's relatable. That's what people do. And healthy relationships can survive.
People are talking about Window Nation, and given my own experience with them, I can see why. What's great about Window Nation is when they come over and they talk with you about the process. I don't know anything about windows, but what they did with me is they made it sound super easy and simple and showed me why theirs are the best and why it was going to make my life better. Who knew windows were that important? Now I do, and I see why people love them. And this August, they're giving you a great value during the Window Nation anniversary sale. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Plus, you can save big with no interest or payments for 24 months. Act now, you'll get an extra $250 credit as well. See, that's big. Window Nation values your satisfaction in their quality, service, and affordability. That's why they stand behind their windows with a lifetime warranty. Window Nation was also recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies, so you can trust Window Nation for high-quality, affordable windows. You got to hurry. The sale ends August 31st, so schedule a fast in-home estimate right now. 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com.
Thank you for traveling with Amex Platinum. To your right, you'll see oceanside relaxation at a fine hotel and resort property. When booked through Amex Travel, you can enjoy complimentary breakfast for 2 and 4 p.m. late checkout. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withAmex.
To everyone who loves Culver's, the feeling is mutual. When I'm serving you a Butterburger, I'm just as happy as you are. I almost get giddy when I hear the sizzle of our fresh beef on the grill. And when I layer on the Wisconsin cheese, I'm like, they are gonna love this. It's delicious. Seeing that smile that comes from a meal made just right, I like to call that love at first bite. Order ahead on the Culver's app or Culver's.com and make Butterburgers your happy place.
From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
What is your power ranking of favorite musical artists of all time to you?
Oh gosh.
Give me 5. Go 1 through 5. It'd be hard to do it backward.
Okay. 1. It's a toss-up. 1 is a toss-up between because I listened to these guys since I was a kid. Billy Joel and Elton John would be 1 and 2, depends on a day. Coldplay 3. You got to put the Beatles on that list. And I know I'm dating myself, but I am who I am, Bobby Bones. 5. I love the Killers. And obviously Michigan adopting Mr. Brightside is another aspect of that. John Mayer, John Legend could make this list. So, yeah, that's my power rankings.
Last good concert you've been to?
I was at Bruce Springsteen. Again, being from Staten Island, I guess I should have put Bruce on the list, but my wife's a bigger Bruce fan than I am. Her brother is just a Bruce nut. So there was that in the Forum, Coldplay at the Rose Bowl.
I like emo Coldplay way more than anthemic Coldplay. I love Coldplay.
Sure.
I like the sad, slow stuff more than the getting all the synth.
I got it.
Yeah.
I understand it. But in terms of just a big stadium band, I mean, Chris Martin just attaches himself to your heartbeat. It's I've never seen anything like it. I did see U2 in the Sphere. Holy shit.
What's the Sphere like?
Oh, I've never.
I mean, I've seen clips, obviously, in reels.
It truly is one of those things that you cannot believe until you see it. I mean, when you walk into the Sphere and for the first time, and I saw on the wall these cinder blocks, these large, huge cinder blocks, and I thought to myself, with these two dots in each one of these monster sort of cinder blocks, one on top of the other, all the way up to the ceiling, to the roof. And at one point in the roof, you would see these helicopters flying overhead, and it gave you an idea, oh, okay, certainly the hole in the Sphere, there's no hole in the Sphere, and that's not seeing through, that is part of the visual illusion. And I thought that the cinder blocks are made of something that you can cast these visuals on, until the concert started and the cinder blocks separated and bright light was shining through it. And I realized that the light was an image, and so are the cinder blocks this entire time I was sitting there in the hour before the concert. And my mind was blown. And not only can they put anything on there, they can also change the depth perception. At one point, it felt like the ceiling was collapsing on you. And all I kept thinking to myself whenever I watch anybody with Dead and Company, that if the drugs are bad, you are going to have a long-ass night, man. Like, that is really a wild place to see. You could see anything in there. They had the NHL draft in there recently. That looked amazing. I can't, and this is how great the Sphere is, and that I would recommend anybody go to it, even though it's owned by the owner of the Knicks, James Dolan, who I otherwise have nothing but the greatest of contempt for. And I would say fill his pocket with your money.
Do you wish you would
That's how good the Sphere is.
Do you wish you would sell the team?
Oh my God!
Have you wished that forever?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the last couple of years things have turned, so I'll accept the current results.
Like, do you give him Jalen Brunson credit?
No, I give him credit for hiring the guy who got Jalen Brunson. Listen, when he threw Charles Oakley or Charles Oakley got thrown in jail and left overnight, that tore it for me.
Do you think Bill Parcells should be in the Hall of Fame?
He is in the Hall of Fame.
Do you think he should be in the Hall of Fame?
I do think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know he's in, but do you think he should be?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what about Robert Kraft?
Yes, absolutely.
I asked that because of the controversies.
Sure.
The documentary that just came out.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, as much as you might feel about Deflategate and Spygate, personally, I think Spygate's worse than Deflategate. Don't forget about with Deflategate that the ball that was confiscated and sent to the NFL and that sparked the controversy was an intercepted football. So if it was supposed to help, why would Brady throw an interception with it? So what I'm saying is, like, it's not cookie cutter where one size fits all right? So there's that. But you still, despite the Spygate and despite the Deflategate, you cannot deny the greatness of what they did for all those years and think that was what made Belichick and Brady and the rest of that roster as great as possible, and the organization as sterling as it's been otherwise. So, I mean, Robert Kraft is at the head of that. So,
for the record,
yes.
I agree.
And plus, he was also very instrumental in the advent of NFL Network, as well as bridging the gap in the lockout. So I think he deserves credit for that too.
Eli Manning?
I think he's in the Hall of Fame. He should be. That's next year.
He can now be. Yeah, he's now one of the guys.
He's first time eligible next year, and I think he should go.
What about a guy like Jared Allen?
He's up there for sure in terms of sacks and in terms of what he did when he was there. And I think if you put folks like Patrick Willis in, and you put folks who had a terrific run in a career that didn't, wasn't ring heavy and wasn't, for the exception of 3 years for Patrick Willis, 8 years wasn't all that great. That it's just that unfortunately it's only 7 guys can get in a year. And there's 53 guys on a roster. There will always be guys waiting. Always be guys waiting.
I made a list of the people because Eli was one, but Jared Allen's always been one to me that I thought, man, he's such right on that line.
I think so too.
And if it hadn't been for the Vikings actually being the Vikings, if he'd have been on a different team, possibly, he'd be easier. So here are some of the guys that are up next year.
Yeah.
Luke Kuechly.
Yes.
He was so freaking good.
If
he wasn't in Carolina.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He was so good.
He will be. I don't know if he's the first ballot, but he will be.
Earl Thomas.
I don't know about that. I don't know if Earl's going to make it.
Marshawn?
I think so, but running back's a real tough one because Frank Gore's going to be up soon too, and so,
Do you think it helps Marshawn, his personality, since he's out of the league? Can that affect?
Oh, sure, of course it can, because these are human beings that vote, and they're, you might. But Marshawn, again, I think Frank Gore has. I shouldn't speak these things without an internet in front of me, but I think Frank has better statistics, more longevity. But Marshawn has moments that pop out more than Frank Gore.
For sure, Vinatieri, right?
Oh,
like easily.
Without a doubt, he might be a first ballot.
Clay Matthews?
I don't think so.
Staley for sure?
At some point, I think he'll get in. But you also, again, don't forget, you guys got like Torrey Holt should be a Hall of Famer. He's not in. I think Jim Plunkett should be a Hall of Famer. But Jim's from a different category. That there are veterans committees that will put people in. So, again, when you're a receiver, when you're a defensive lineman, running back, quarterback, those are guys that, have the longest line, I think. And tackles, guards, defensive tackles, linebackers usually have to wait the longest. Corners, because if you're not first ballot, you're going to be on that line waiting to jump past any of the so-called skilled position players.
3 final things I want to talk about.
Sure.
Dak, what's happening?
Great question. He's got all the cards. He's got all the leverage as of this conversation. He is unsigned past this year. He cannot be franchise tagged, and he cannot be traded. So he's the Dallas Cowboys quarterback this year, and he's going to make a killing. He's going to make an absolute killing depending on whether he gets it from Dallas now or he gets bestowed a free agent contract from somebody that's willing to give him $60 million a year. He's going to get it.
None of those guys have quite hit 60 yet, right? With Jordan Love, Tua, they're 55.
They're currently at 55. Yeah. And if Dak goes this year, I think that may be the push-pull. Like he's probably saying, I want something starts with a 6. Dallas may be responding, listen, we've got to pay CD, we've got to pay Micah, we need you to take less. And what about that period, that range of money between 55 and 60? Can we find a sweet spot there? I'm guessing that might be the push-pull right now. But if it's not Dak getting 60, it'll be Purdy next year.
Really?
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence got 55. Tua got 53.1. Jordan Love got 55. Brock Purdy has, if you add up Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, and Tua's career playoff wins, Purdy has more. And he probably will even separate himself even more in terms of playoff wins and certainly potentially Super Bowl appearances, if not wins, in that category.
But won't the narrative be what it's always been with Purdy? Well, look at him. He's got Debo. He's got McCaffrey. He's got Brandon Ayuk. And do we really need to pay him $60 million? And I'm not saying that the narrative is correct, but obviously when you're the last person picked.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
Correct.
Don't forget, Brady probably had that for the first couple of years of his career, too. He's on a super team. It was Bill, not Brady.
But Brady won a Super Bowl, though.
He won three out of 4. I understand. We'll see what Purdy does, but I think he's going to get that money.
Wow.
Yeah.
If he's the first $60 million guy, a lot
Wouldn't
of people
that be amazing?
I would love it. I think it. The fact that Trey Lance wasn't the guy that came out of that, and Purdy was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, on behalf of guys who look like they're still in high school, I think he would represent people like you very well, Bobby.
The second thing I want to mention, I shouldn't have brought up Connor Stallions. I apologize.
Don't worry about it.
No.
Don't worry about it.
I would have loved to have one of those guys.
Well, on behalf
Because I think
of,
I would have been that guy.
on behalf of Michigan fans everywhere, you don't want a Connor Stallions in Arkansas. Just pig suey without him, brother.
You know Cal? Have you ever met Cal?
I have met him.